Today on Locked On Rockies, a late rally and some early damage. Not enough as Sandy Alcantara and the Miami Marlins sweep away the Colorado Rockies.
You are Locked On Rockies, your daily Colorado Rockies podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Rock on Rockies fans, welcome into the Locked On Rockies podcast for today, the Friday, the 19th day of September in the year 2025, second to last full weekend of baseball for the Colorado Rockies. The Friday before the last full week of the regular season. And it's a dud for the Rockies as they are swept away by the Miami Marlins, who really just handled business in this series. At least 5 or more runs in each game in the series for the Marlins. Back-to-back games scoring 8 or more runs here against the Rockies. And actually, it was not even 5 runs, 6 runs was the difference maker here. Rockies were able to end up making most of these games somewhat close, not so much in game 2 there, but plain and simple, they're just not up to snuff here. I mean, hey, that doesn't take away from the fact that Krim hits his not only does he get the start, he gets a multi-homer day, hits the ball out of the yard a couple of times. Yanquiel Fernandez drives the ball out of the yard, and Mickey Moniak leaves the yard as well. Great to see. Good to see the Rockies being able to hit home runs again. On the categories of being statistically the worst at, that is not a category that they're in last place. So the Rockies have been able to hit some homers. Good to see, but other than that, another day of 9 strikeouts, another day with going with underperforming with runners in scoring position, and another day where this pitching staff just can't stop giving up runs. It's just nothing is reaching, and nothing is landing. Nothing. It is not as much as we're seeing the fight and the grit and all the other buzzwords you want to use. It's not resulting in wins. It's not resulting in while it might be for some players a hot start or hot finish to the season for Mickey Moniak and a nice moment for Krim there, overall it's kind of a dud for a lot of these other guys here, as we're talking about Ezequiel Tovar 1 for 4 in this one, Hunter Goodman 1 for 5 in this one, Jordan Beck striking out again, another game with Beck striking out multiple times, this time 4 strikeouts here, and he was on a bit of a stretch where he was looking a little bit better here, but we have seen him in situations here where he can strike out quite a bit. This is the second 4 strikeout game for Jordan Beck in the month of September, and you go back there into the month of August, where he has struck out 3 times, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 4 times in there. So it's not like it's always we've just seen this happen where it just unfortunately Beck gets in these situations where he can strike out quite a bit, and it's just not a situation where, again, way too important of a bat to be caught up in that. Okay, so quick thoughts there, and I got away from this, so let me do this real quick. This episode is brought to you by 5 Hour Energy. Enough with boring, flavorless caffeine. It's time to give your caffeine a flavor upgrade with 5 Hour Energy shots. Go to 5hourenergy.com or Amazon today. And I got some stats or some more data there from Patrick Lyons on Twitter that I want to get to here. But what stinks about this series, and what it again, and it kind of relates to the things that I was talking about now. I think this kind of puts a bow on the theme of the conversations that we've had this week with talking about the different approach in trading and acquiring players, the different philosophies, signing to long term, and all these things. And Mickey Moniak is certainly going to be proving a really interesting case for the Rockies here on are they going to commit to him and where he's at. I don't know if he's in arbitration or anything like that, but anyway, I still think that this is a situation where the Rockies will need to be careful with how long they commit and how much they commit to Mickey Moniak. But again, I just saw again the Marlins team again. While they at least just they seemed competitive, and I think that's the better thing. And plain and simple, more often than not, the Rockies have not looked competitive. And I understand, again, young team, lack of experience, the context matters. But the moment has seemed a little bit too big for players. On the broadcast today, the Rockies are talking about the just horrendous amount of the horrendous performances in terms of advanced analytics and things that the Rockies have been getting from first base. It's not just being a young team. It's not just an inexperienced team. It's just, okay, how do you help these teams? It's, again, the question of getting these guys to the next level, the development side. And we remember that this is a team that harps and pushes that and says that every, time and time. We're a draft and develop team. We're a draft and develop team. And, a bunch of homegrown talent on the roster. But that it's not impressing. It doesn't look like it's not raising eyebrows. I think that the Rockies are built of a lot of fine to okay to decent to bench player to not a lot of star level talent, elite level talent. They have some possibilities with Goodman and Tovar and Doyle and even Beck in there. But these guys kind of need to unlock another level. Ezequiel Tovar can't, and I understand the health issue. He can't look as outmatched sometimes on these strikeouts as he does given the amount of experience he has. Brenton Doyle has obviously the personal, the off the field stuff, which again, I kind of think is a bigger factor into what happened at the beginning of the season, but that can't be the norm. We can't keep going into situations and asking like, oh, what if this, or if these guys pan out, or if it develops. And again, I understand how young Ezequiel Tovar is, and I understand how young the Rockies are. But there's just something about the team and not only the performance that just looks like they're far behind. It's not just the record. It's and I mean that's obviously the overlying thing there. But it just doesn't feel like the Rockies are anywhere close to being on the same page as the as really other and any other team in the league. I just watching this game, and it's just, man, pitchers can't hit the spots. Oh, it's another multi. And again, Tanner Gordon here, not a bad start overall. 6 hits or 6 innings, 5 hits, 3 of them earned run, and it's I think actually all of those earned runs came on the home run there. 4 strikeouts, not horrendous. Man, the bullpen though, just it's crooked numbers from everyone across the board. It's allowing another 12-hit game. It's just they aren't in the position to be. They're just. I don't think they're really not intimidating anybody. They're not. Again, as we go back to that ESPN piece that talks about the core and all these other things, there's nothing about the Rockies and where they're at or their system or anything that says, hey, you got to watch out for these guys. There's good players. There's good options here. But I that's what I'm hoping to see. I guess from next year is guys that are really that really take step forwards that can play all-star caliber baseball that are multi-WAR players, and the Rockies have some, but that's got to be the norm, I think. Let's just to kind of go here and to highlight Kyle Stowers 3.6 WAR, Otto Lopez 3.4 WAR, Xavier Edwards 2.7 WAR, Edward Cabrera 2.5 WAR, and Jacob Marcy 2.1 WAR. Those are the top. That's the top 5 players by WAR in the for the Marlins right now. So, a couple of guys in the 3s, a couple of guys closer into the 2s, but all high 2s and a couple in the 3s. If you go to the Rockies here, Hunter Goodman at 3.6, Jimmy Herget at 2.7, Victor Vodnik at 1.7, Jordan Beck at 1.2, and Ryan McMahon at 1.2. I mean, you're talking about full wins below replacement here. You're talking about a team that has, as much as we've liked moments from Tyler Freeman, he's got a negative 1.3 WAR on the season here. Mickey Moniak has increased it, is at a minus 0.4, which is a great sign. But there's just not a lot of guys have necessarily really impressed this year. There have been impressive, and I guess I shouldn't say that. Hunter Goodman has really impressed this year. That is abundantly clear. But if Jordan Beck just tops out at a 1.2 WAR and I'm just using this comparison because they're tied in WAR with Ryan McMahon. If Jordan Beck is just a Ryan McMahon, if everyone on the Rockies is just another Ryan McMahon, are they good players? Yes. Are they great players? I don't think so. Not yet. There is greatness possible for this team. But not only do the Rockies have to help them get there and help develop these players more, but the players got to show off a little bit of it too. They got to show us these next steps. And there's not enough time for that. This is just kind of looking ahead to the next time. I'm just curious. Are there people on the Rockies roster that you think are going to be guys that develop into an everyday name? And I think the Rockies are lacking that right now. All right. Let's I gotta unfortunately bring keep the mood a little bit of a damper here as win number 42 eludes the Rockies yet again. Because we got some again on top of all of that stuff. These are the type of numbers, the ones that I'm about to read. These are the things that have to strike fear or change or demand the change within the organization. We'll talk about that coming up next. Before we do that, though, got to tell you about the folks that help make this show possible, and that includes Zippix. This episode is brought to you by Zippix Toothpicks. Whether you're looking for nicotine satisfaction or an energy boost, Zippix has you covered with their nicotine and caffeine-infused toothpicks. I'm a big chew. I like to chew. I like to have, I like gum. I like to, it's always been something. So being able to have a little toothpick that also gives you a little boost, you gotta like that. And if you're a nicotine user, Zippix provides a discreet way to satisfy cravings and the hand-to-mouth habit without vaping or smoking. Zippix can be a helpful tool as you work to reduce your dependence on vaping. Available in 6 great flavors with 2 milligram and 3 milligram nicotine options. And if you need energy without the crash, their caffeine toothpicks are a game changer. Go to zippixtoothpicks.com. Use code LOCKEDON for 10% off your first order. Must be 21 or older to order. Warning, nicotine is an addictive chemical. That's zippixtoothpicks.com. Promo code locked on. Zip more, smoke less with Zippix toothpicks. Rocking on here on the Locked On Rockies podcast for this Friday. And I thank you again for making us your first listen of the day. Make sure you're checking out on the Locked On Rockies YouTube channel. Be part of the show. Fire off your Rockies hot takes. Let me know what's on your mind when it comes to the Colorado Rockies. And I want to ask this question here. I've said this before, and I'll revisit here. I believe the Rockies are probably just going to remove the interim tag of Warren Schaefer and go ahead with just making him the manager. It would be very Rockies to do. There has been there has been a million things. But these are the numbers. These are the things. This is the situation that you kind of have to ask the question here, where you say, again, Schaaf's got respect. It's kind of the classic thing. Players like playing for him. He's put his time in. But I'm just going to throw this out here from Patrick Lyons. Colorado entered August 21st. And how many times have I brought up August 21st? That's where we've always gone back to. For a month now, right? Colorado entered August 21st, needing only 6 wins to avoid becoming the 3rd team in the modern era to ever lose 120 games. August 21st, needed 6 wins to avoid it. They have gone 4-22 for a winning percentage of 154 since then, the same record they had through the first 26 games of the season. So what do we do with that? Like, because the initial reaction and the initial thing is there hasn't been a big difference in managing. Sure, some managerial styles and the Rockies maybe being more willing to play young guys and not playing, having lineups that see a lot of the vets. But we've seen the Arcia Kyle Farmer lineups as well. We've seen veteran heavy lineups for the Rockies in the interim. But if we're supposed to, if Warren Schaefer has the confidence of everybody, has the confidence of the organization, if you're ready to say, boom, yes, we're good, everything that he does, we look at the second half of the season. He's earned that. But then you bring in this context of since August 21st, which is nearly a month, a significant portion of the season, the end point of the season, 4-22, 154 winning percentage, dominated by the NL West, still striking out, still getting thrown out on bases, still not pitching effectively. Now, these things weren't going to magically change with just moving on for the manager. That's not what I'm saying. But I don't think that I don't think this audition has been a perfect one. And I think that's kind of what relates to the first segment. There's flashes, there's moments, there's small things, there's little things, there's things to point to that encourage you, but it doesn't wash away the fact of the matter of losing. And it doesn't wash away this, which again, and both of these these things are something that needs to be at the forefront of the mind of the decision makers of the Rockies. Patrick Lyons also tweets this: the Colorado Rockies are the first team in the modern era, which is since 1901, to cross the minus 400 run differential mark. The previous record was negative 345 by the 1932 Red Sox. Another record in which the Rockies not only break, but smash, but fly by, but blow out of the water. The Rockies don't just make bad history, they establish it. They establish themselves as the poster child of it. Most consecutive games trailing, worst start to the season, worse this, worse that, worse this, boom. And then it's this. It's not just barely eking by the team with the worst run differential of all time. No. It's blowing past them. And again, I know it hasn't been the whole season for him. I know he didn't have the spring training and how he would have done his approach and everything like this as the person in charge. But Warren Schaefer's managed more ball games for the Rockies this year than Bud Black, if I'm not mistaken. While we saw some weeks in some situations with the Rockies turning it around, they're also horrendous right now. They're also losing line, and we're getting the gritty talk and the tough talk, and everyone's finishing the game, and we're going to go out there and, hey, another game where late home runs, boom, we were in it, fighting tooth and nail to the end. But you also let up 9 runs after letting up 8 runs the day before, and 6 runs the day before that. And again, this doesn't just go on Schaefer. This is Daryl Scott. And again, you can point, and the talent as well, and the pitchers here. It's down the line here. So I bring all this up and I say all this stuff and I make these mentions because while there has been some small areas of improvement, the Rockies have been bad, have underperformed. As I say, this audition has not gone well. This audition does not make you feel abundantly confident in the future of the Colorado Rockies. If you don't if you don't lead to change in the wake and as a result of this season, as you continue to dig a deeper hole, just with the saving grace of they haven't done it yet, and win 42 does not exist until it exists. Just avoiding that is not good enough to salvage. It's not good enough to save face. And whatever generic boilerplate stuff that will finish, it will be the end of the season or end of season press conference, if there even will be one, and everything. It's not gonna instill confidence in what's next. So I ask you, the Rockies fan, are you worried? I don't know. I'm not worried, but like, how do you feel about committing to Warren Schaefer? How do you feel about making that decision right now without actually doing a search? How big of a deal is the manager position for you in your eyes and for you? Is manager really going to be the thing that unlocks a new level or gets these guys to the next stage? Is that really going to be the thing that's different? And probably not. I mean, it's not just a one area fix. It's in every aspect of the game, from the top down to every last detail about how you do things, that needs to be looked at. But I think that stat since August is pretty damning as well. I think if you have any reservations or hesitations, or if you have anything like that, stuff that you might be, is the performance, is it as good as we thought? When we're talking about a better second half, right? That hot start to the second half of the season has been all but washed away at this point. The good vibes of that are long gone, as through this last month has just been bad, has been abysmal. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know what's on your mind there in the Locked On Rockies YouTube comments section. We got to take a break, and then we're going to put a bow on this one coming up next. Before we do that, though, got to tell you about the folks that help make this show possible, and that includes PrizePicks. This episode is brought to you by PrizePicks, the daily fantasy app where making the right call can actually pay off. You and I make decisions every day, but on PrizePicks, being right means cashing in. With football back, PrizePicks is the simplest and fastest way to get in on the action. Just pick more or less on 2 to 6 player projections, and you can turn your takes into real prizes, all in less than 60 seconds. It's quick, easy, and it's going to be your favorite way to follow along with football. You can check with the projections. Look at what's up with Saquon Barkley. What you're going to take the more or less on the rushing yards, maybe a little touchdown there. You also can check out the max discount, which this week it's Patrick Mahomes, 0.5 passing yards. While he might not be throwing the ball downfield as much, he's going to get that. So check that out and more on the PrizePicks app. Download the PrizePicks app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONMLB for $50 in lineups after your first $5 play. PrizePicks, it's good to be right. We're also brought to you by 5-Hour Energy. Caffeine just got a flavor upgrade. 5-Hour Energy shots deliver tasty caffeine in 17 bold flavors. Each 2-ounce shot packs the caffeine of a premium 12-ounce cup of coffee, plus B vitamins and nutrients with 0 sugar and 0 crashes. What you'll love most is how portable they are. Big taste, tiny shot. You can take it anywhere and get that boost when you need it. I've always reached for 5-Hour Energy on the road in a late night, or when you need a situation where you just need a little bit of boost. You don't want to get a whole huge sugary thing like that. Down the hatch, open it up. You're getting the B vitamins and nutrients as well. 0 sugar and 0 crashes. It kicks in right away, and it's sugar-free, so you don't have to worry about the later crash. Enough with boring, flavorless caffeine. It's time to give your caffeine a flavor upgrade with 5-Hour Energy shots. Get the favorites you love, or be bold and try something new in-store and online at 5hourenergy.com or Amazon today. Locked On Rockies here, wrapping things up for this episode and for the week here as we are approaching the real final landing. 4 series, that's kind of a lot. 3, it's the end is here. The final homestand of the season is here, and the Rockies are looking to snap a 5-game losing streak here. Now, playing a team that actually ended up being a lot more interesting this year than in the Miami Marlins, and coming to town now is the Angels here, 69-83, 32-45 away. Mitch Ferris on the bump for the Angels here with a 4.80 ERA and a whip of 1.20 in 15 innings pitched. Going to be a young guy taking on Coors Field for the first time. He's allowed 11 hits in those 15 innings, including 14 strikeouts. So strikeout is part of the arsenal there. 7 walks though, and three homers in that time. So what do we know about good things for the Rockies? Get on base, put the ball in play. Good things will happen. Bradley Blaylock on the other side, 1.82 whip and a 9 ERA over 50 innings pitched, 71 hits allowed, 22 strikeouts, 20 walks, and 14 home runs here. The Angels, not an overall big imposing threat on in some categories on offense, but hit homers, 211 homers this season. And what do we know about the Rockies? And one of their biggest issue or biggest weaknesses, allowing home runs. So the Angels are going to be coming in here at Coors Field looking to swing the bat. That includes, of course, it hasn't been a season to remember for Mike Trout, but Mike Trout's in there. Joe Adell's got 36 home runs on the season here. This is a team that's got thump in the bat, and this is a team, the Rockies can kind of take solace here. Better team batting average here for the Rockies at 239 compared to 226. More hits than the Angels here. Lower OBP and lower slugging. So it's it's a kind of mismatch here. Both teams coming in on losing streaks, trying to get themselves right and finish the season strong. Actually, as of recording this, the Angels are playing Milwaukee, currently losing right now. If they do lose that game, the Angels will be coming into town on a 7-game losing streak here. And going back even further, that's 8 of their last 10, 9 of their last 11. If they drop this one here as they head to Colorado for their final road trip of the season here, as they will finish well below 500 on away from their home ballpark as well. So there will be opportunities, but this is another. I worry about home runs, and I worry about the Rockies giving up home runs in this one. It'll be interesting to see. We'd love to try to talk to the Locked On Angels podcast here, as we at the end, maybe a little recap here, see if we can get a crossover. Just kind of see where they're at. I think a franchise that probably can relate with being very frustrated, being in a spot where, you're not the best situation, not the best, guys underperformed, bad contracts, XYZ. So it'd be some good insight. But anyway, folks, that's going to do it for us here on today's episode of Locked On Rockies. We'll recap the final homestand of the 2025 season coming up on Monday. So stay tuned for that. For your second listen of the day, go check out Locked On MLB and Locked On MLB Game Night. Got you coverage from every game from around the league. And of course, you can find us on your favorite streaming services and the Locked On Rockies YouTube channel. Of course, if you need more Colorado sports coverage, Locked On Broncos, Avalanche, Nuggets, and Buffs, free and streaming on your favorite streaming services. Until next time, I'm Paul Holden saying so long from the Locked On Rockies podcast.